Take questions for LeBron. First one back left, Tim on 4.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Bron, all the way back. Tim Reynolds with the AP. Bron, what's the last couple of days for you been like, just as you go through the process of resetting the body and the mind, and kind of along those lines? I know that, you know, the numbers you put up so far in these playoffs, everyone's just sort of been gaga over them, but do you think there's still another level that you can get to in this series?
I think that's to be seen. But for the last, couple of days, obviously we was able to finish our series off on Sunday in Boston. Monday was Memorial Day, so I got an opportunity to stay home with the family, barbecue, have a cookout. Kids had a heck of a time. I had a heck of a time just kind of just relaxing and decompressing until 9 o'clock Eastern time until I started watching the game and seeing who we were going to play. Going against the Warriors, the last 3 years in the finals, I kind of figured or thought, that they can get it done just because of the 18 of possible 21 finals games that I've played against them in the last 3 years. I've kind of figured that they would make it happen, just their championship DNA. So, and then yesterday, just around the clock treatment. We had a workout before we left Cleveland. I got treatment on the 4.5-hour flight up here. We did a little prep yesterday. I got some more treatment, ate dinner. And I woke up this morning, worked out, like I always do. I got some more treatment and headed here to see you guys. So, the level that I can, play at is to be seen. But the level that I put into the game is, and put into my craft is who I am. So, numbers and things like that kind of take care of itself. But for me, I understand and I know how much I put into the game. So, everything else is okay.
Jeff, on your right.
Jeff Zilgett, USA Today. LeBron, you have 4 teammates who once played against you deep into the playoffs previously, Kyle, George, Kendrick, and Jeff. Did you ever envision playing on the same team as those guys at some point? Did you want to? And then the last part of that, what do you like about having Perk around?
I always, when you go against guys, you can envision that at times how they fit with you and, what they could do for your team. Going against Kyle, I always kind of was like, oh, wow, to add a sharpshooter like that to our ball club would be, an amazing thing. And obviously, our former GM, David Griffin, was able to pull that off and get him to us. And, kind of the rest is history, what he's been able to do for our ball club. I've always loved George Hill, his length, and his ability to, put pressure on the defense, but also on the defensive side with his length. I've always kind of seen that, obviously, with the battles that, we had with Indiana and going deep into the playoffs. Me and Perk, we've been playing against each other and with each other since high school. We played on a few, AAU circuits together when we played actually for the Oakland Soldiers out here. We played on the same team. And Jeff Green, I never envisioned, me, being a teammate of his. But I've always kind of had an aspiration for Jeff, especially, when he, went through the heart surgery and to see, the game be taken away from someone so young at that point in time. I was like, wow, this, a reset for me personally, too, to kind of just never take the game for granted, even though I never do. But it gives you an opportunity to kind of just, thank the situation that you're in. So it was always great, to compete against Jeff, especially after he was able to get back on the floor and just, not actually knowing exactly what he went through, because none of us can actually know unless we've been through that. But you can be inspired by it. So it's been great to have all 4 of them. To answer your last question, Perk's his leadership, his championship, not only pride, but his championship manner every day. He just brings a championship guy around every single day. And obviously, if you guys are out here, you guys hear from the Warriors all the time about what it means to be a championship person and to breathe and to talk and to speak that every single day. So for a lot of our guys that's kind of, went on to other teams or not a part of our team this year, it's great to have another championship guy in our locker room that can kind of, give some of the guys that's never been a part of it, some words of encouragement or some words of advice or what it takes to breathe a championship, mindset every single day. So he's been instrumental to us since we got him back at the start of the postseason.
Al on the left over here.
Hi, LeBron. El Sarasovic, San Francisco Chronicle. Is it good for the NBA to have the same two teams in the finals 4 years in a row?
Got to ask Adam Silver.
I mean, your thoughts?
What?
Well, there's been some blowback. There's a talk on social media that people are sick of the same matchup. I mean, do you feel like it would be better if there was more parity in the league?
Teams have had their opportunities to beat the Cavs over the last 4 years, and teams have had opportunities to beat the Warriors over the last 4 years. And if you want to see somebody else in the postseason, then you got to beat them.
Second row on your right.
Or in the finals in that case.
LeBron. Ryan Gorski, San Francisco Examiner. Andre Iguodala, obviously he's out. What has he done so well on you, or what have you noticed him doing on defense against you the last few years that's kind of making you take notice?
I think he's, first of all, he has very, very quick hands. That doesn't get talked about a lot. His ability to read and react to the ball, either in the flight or while you're dribbling or when you pick the ball up. But I mean, at the end of the day, his athleticism allows him to play some of the premier perimeter players in our league. I mean, he's a guy 6'8", long wingspan, athletic. He's been like that since he was at Arizona. And he's just added to his game every single, season he's been in the NBA. I've, played against him throughout my career, throughout his entire career since he got, to the league. And we was actually a funny story. We was actually in the draft when he got drafted. We was one pick away from drafting him before Philly took him. I believe 8 or 9, and then I think we selected Luke Jackson from Oregon. And I had loved him, at Arizona, and was hoping that he slid to us with that pick. But obviously, you guys like those stories, so that's why I gave it to you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys like stories like that.
Thanks.
Dave and Chris.
David Quinneman, ESPN. LeBron, Thursday is going to be the 101st game you've played in this regular season plus the postseason, the most you've ever done in that span of time. We've tried to get you kind of reflect on it before. I don't know if you will now, but is what you're doing, are you redefining what a prime is considered? Because, I mean, in basketball circles for years was, you hit 7 or 8 seasons in, 27 years old. That was kind of the traditional prime. But now you're 15 years in and age 33 and about to play more basketball than he's ever played in.
I think they've always kind of talked like the NBA prime is like, 27 to like 31, 32. And that's, if you're lucky, you get to that point. I don't know. I've just never really, bought into that. I've never bought into like a ceiling either. You guys always talk to me about, what's your ceiling, and I've always, kind of told you guys that I don't really have a ceiling. I want to just try to maximize, as much as I can, and be as good as I can. And I forgot. I'm not quite sure who I did a post-game interview after one of our games this year. I don't know if it was maybe Doris or. It was one of the great lady sideline reporters that we have that asked me, how do you feel and how are you still able to do this? And I told her that particular time, this is the best I felt in my career.
Yeah, it was Cassie Hubbard.
Okay, well, there it is. And I don't know if she believed me, and I don't know if you guys believe me, but I really felt that. And I continue to just play at an all-time level. Standard, for the rest of the season, and hopefully I can continue it, in this finals, so, I've been blessed to be available. That's what I take pride in more than anything, is being available to my teammates every single day, and I think I've missed 1 or 2 practices a day because it's just, when you live in Northeast Ohio, you have 4 seasons, you will get sick. But I've been available for my teammates and been a leader to my teammates all year, and I've put in the work. And it's allowed me to be able to tomorrow suit up for the 101 consecutive time. And, and if I'm fortunate, I can suit up for, what was that, 108? We'll see what happens.
And just quick follow-up, does that best feeling still apply, even with Larry Nance falling into your leg and playing 94 minutes to close out Game 6 and 7?
Chris, last one on the left.
Chris Haynes, ESPN. Brock, a few years back, you used to talk about certain teams or certain players having cliff notes, will probably be cliff notes when your career is said and done and your possible book or whatnot. With this, the Warriors' time, tenure, how impactful or meaningful is this, I guess, series of rivalry with you and your career? And how do you view them?
Listen, Golden State is one of the best teams I've ever played. It's one of the best teams that's ever been assembled. And then they added Kevin Durant. So what does that do to him? It even makes him even more dangerous and, even more powerful and great. And, and it's just, it's for me as a competitor, it's fun. It's truly fun. And to know when I'm done playing a game of basketball, to know I played against some of the greatest teams that ever played, ever been assembled. And this is one of them. You look at it, they got, 4 Hall of Famers on their team, and Clay, Dre, Steph, and KD. They got a Finals MVP that comes off their bench. They got a number 1, draft pick, or I think what was Sean Livingston 1 or 2 or something when he came out and fought back, and and he comes off their bench. They got an all-star power forward and David West who comes off their bench. It's just like whoever they kind of suit up or whoever they decide to be a part of, what they got going on over here is just a really, really high IQ basketball player and know how to play the game of basketball. So, at what chapter will the LeBron versus Warriors fit into my book? I have no idea. That's for myself and whatever writer I decide to pick.
I'm available.
I was about to say, I know one of you guys would love to be. Probably make a lot of money. But I mean, I don't know. Listen, I could sit here and say today that Golden State is they're a great team. They're a great team, and it's not even. I didn't even mention their head coach. I mean, their head coach is the one who kind of puts it all together, makes it all flow. To be able to, be able to put, egos in the right, position and spot on the floor where everybody feels, good about the outcome and things of that nature. That's when it comes to team sports, that's something that you would hope that you could be a part of, where you got great guys that not only have great talent, but also practice the way exactly how you're supposed to practice it, then go on a game and play it that way. And I've been fortunate enough to be a part of, a few of those teams in my career, either from, NBA teams or Olympic teams, obviously. I don't know, Chris, I don't know where they will fall in my book, but they will have a nice chapter.
Thank you, LeBron.
All right.
Thank you.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, I'll move it back.
No, he did it.
Two. Mark, first question up front.
Brown stuff was deep.
Tristan, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. There's this narrative out there that LeBron is doing his greatest work ever because he is single-handedly bringing all of you other guys across the finish line with him. Saturday Night Live even thought it was so funny they did a skit about it. When you see a skit like that, when you hear a narrative like that, what do you think, and what's your reaction?
I think they've always had a narrative, LeBron, carrying the team, and he's definitely a big part of our team. But if you watch the games, we got guys that have big moments. We have Kev's played huge. Jeff Green, being able to come in for Game 7, knocking down those threes and playing at a high level. Myself, this is my 4th finals, and every playoff series, I've had some big moments. So, LeBron definitely has done a great job for us, but he's not alone. He has help, and I think guys that know basketball know, the guys that he has on his team. So SNL and all that stuff, I'm glad they got their hits and people watched it, but they don't know no sports.
Tristan, Tom Reed from The Athletic. You've obviously been part of, this is your 4th time against the Warriors. What have you seen with LeBron and Draymond? 2 guys that seem like there's some similarities there, not necessarily their game, but their style, their appreciation for the history, their memory, and the competitiveness with which they play.
I think, the similarities between LeBron and Draymond, just their heart, how much they love the game, how much they give themselves to their team. For Bron, he does whatever it takes, whether it's scoring, rebounding, defending, blocking shots. He does everything. I think Draymond's the same kind of player for Golden State. He's always the guy that's only pulling over on the weak side, trying to contest the shot, dying for loose balls. He'll make some timely threes when, guys are sinking off him, when everyone's worried about Clay and Steph. So, he's definitely, I think him and Iggy are the heart and soul of this Golden State team. So I think that's the similarity between him and Bron, where, they're definitely the key core of both franchises.
Given so much that's at stake when you guys meet in the finals, I think fans sometimes don't understand how, he and Bron could have the uninterrupted thing. They could work together. You would think that they would be at each other's throats. Do you see that, or do you see these guys, or they can just separate that when the games are over, and that they can work together and stuff like that?
Yeah, they definitely do. Maverick Carter does a great job in terms of the uninterrupted, and at the end of the day, that's outside the 4 lines. When you're on the 94 feet, we don't care if it's your twin brother. We're going at each other, and we're competitors, and that's what this game is about. That's why we fell in love with this game at a young age, is a competitive nature. So with Bron and Draymond, they're just getting after it. They love the game, and that's what you want, especially the finals. This is all. It's 2.5 weeks left. It's only basketball left until you watch Summer League. So you're going to give it all you got, and you're going to want to take down the other guy and beat him to the ground. So it's just basketball.
On the right side.
Tristan, James Ham, NBC Sports Bay Area. This is your 4th finals.
Mm-hmm.
How is this year different with all the roster changes and everything that you guys have undergone? How's the journey been different this year?
You definitely hit on the head in terms of roster changes, injuries. For myself, missing more games than I ever missed in my whole career with injuries, with the trades. It's been a whirlwind season. I like to call this season the growing pains for me, just because you've never really experienced stuff like this, and this was the first year where we've had some major adversity. But we fought through, and dug deep, and I'm just happy these guys are here with me to go to war, and we're excited to be back here.
Chris over here on the left.
Chris Haynes, ESPN. When you think about this season for you guys, what would you consider the lowest point?
The lowest point? I wouldn't say necessarily it was the lowest point. I think we had some things to figure out. I think February, coming into the trade deadline, we had stuff to figure out. At that point, we weren't where we needed to be, and we had to get better. I think defensively, we weren't there, but I think it also is because we had a lot of injuries, guys coming in and out of the lineup. I don't think it was until March or April when we had a full roster with nobody missing games. So obviously maybe the panic, or what people were saying was a panic time where the Cavs had to figure out was February, but we know we've been here before. Myself, Bron, Caleb, JR, we've been through it before. We've us four, the four remaining guys that have been to the championship, have been at the top of the mountaintop. So we know it's a long process. So our job was to help the other guys, the guys that haven't been through this. Trust the process. It's going to take time. You're gonna have your peaks and valleys, and just stay the course. If we stay the course and continue being who we are, we'll get back to where we need to get to, and we're here now.
Last question, back right.
Joe Gabriel, Cavs.com. Tristan, this playoff run's been so different for you in that you started out, you got a couple of DNPs to start it out, and now you're back in the rotation, things like that. Has this been very difficult for you, and how were you able to keep your head despite all that early adversity?
I wouldn't say difficult. I think for me it was just wait till your number's called. At the end of the day, regardless if you're playing or not playing, you still got to be there for your teammates. Beginning Indiana series, wasn't playing. So for me, how I can help my team and how I can help the guys that haven't been there before, with Larry and Jordan and Rodney and Jetty, just stay in the air. Give them my advice from the sideline. Tell them what's going to take. If I see something on the court, give them advice, and just stay ready. I think for me, when we weren't playing, I was getting with the young guys, playing a lot of 5-on-5, just staying ready, staying in shape, so that when my number is called, I'm ready to come in there and show everyone what I'm capable of doing and what you guys know me as the player that I am since I've entered the NBA. So that's what I did. I'm here now. Do what I'm supposed to do my job at a high level, and got to keep it going.
Thank you, Tristan.
Yep.
Kyle Korver will be up next. Mark in the front here, first question.
Hey, Kyle.
Hey, how are
Mark
you?
Schwartz, ESPN. Good. Two for you. First of all, you've been around the league a long time with a lot of different great players, but there's only one LeBron. From a basketball intellect standpoint, what are some of the things you've witnessed from him as a teammate or as an opponent that just still boggle your mind that you can talk about as anecdotes?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of conversations that you can have around him in that way. I think the thing that I'm most impressed with him is his ability to just keep on going, his ability to recover mentally, physically. He's at the top of the scouting report for the other team every night. He deals with traps, he deals with double teams, he deals with scrutiny, he deals with so much stuff. But the next day, he's the first person at the gym. He does it every day. And I think, just being a part of 2 finals runs now, these are long seasons. They go a long time. Mentally, emotionally, physically, they can really take it out of you. And for him to have done this 8 years in a row, to still be the first guy in the gym every day, to do shooting contests after practice with guys on 2-way contracts. I mean, there aren't people that do that. I mean, the superstars in the NBA, there's not many that do that. And so for him, I think just his ability to just keep on going, to keep on grinding. This season is a great example. Play every game, play a lot of minutes every game. It's just his body of work is amazing.
And people now are saying that his feat this year to bring this group to the finals is his greatest body of work. But the other side of that coin is he's bringing guys that are not very good. I mean, SNL did a piece about it and made fun of the other Cavaliers. When you see things like that and you hear things like that, what kind of reverberations does that have in your room?
You know what? I don't know exactly all that's said on the outside, but you would never feel that from him. He doesn't walk around acting like he's carrying a team, like he's carrying an organization. He doesn't walk around. He doesn't walk around like that. I mean, he knows he's LeBron James, and he knows that he knows who he is. But yeah, I mean, he's really for all of his teammates. He's always talking to guys, trying to help them be better. No, he does. He's a really great leader.
Steve on the right.
Steve Ashburn at NBA.com. It's standard procedure in this league that a team will see the other guy's stars sit down, catch their breath, and that's a good opportunity to make a run or whatever it is in the game. When your guy sits down so little and sometimes not at all, you think that's mentally challenging to the opponents that they have to go through him? They can't go around him even in a game.
Definitely. I think.
Did you feel that way when you were elsewhere?
Yeah, I don't know if we were like, he's out of the game, let's go now. I don't know if we felt that way, but I think you know that he's played heavy minutes his whole career. I don't know what his averages are, and I don't know what they are in the playoffs, but he's rarely come out of the game for 15 years now. And I think the other team always knows, that if you want to beat him, he's going to have the ball at the end of the game. He's gonna be there making plays on both ends of the court. If you're going to win the game, that you have to go through him.
Joe in the middle.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. Kyle, if you turn on the TV at all and watch any NBA stuff over the last couple of days, like, you guys are not supposed to win this series. It's just that's the narrative. Do you embrace that in a way that you're playing like as though you've got nothing to lose since you're not supposed to win? Like, how do you guys react or use that in any way?
Yeah, I think it's really good for our team, especially with, having a bunch of young guys, a bunch of guys who haven't been here before. I think we can use that to our advantage. I mean, if we lose, we were supposed to lose, apparently. I think there's a certain freedom in that. I think last year, even though a lot of people thought Golden State would win, because we had won the year before, the Cavs won the year before, there was some pressure on that. There's a different feel for us this year, I think. I mean, it's the first time for a bunch of guys, but we just get to go out there and play free and see what happens. And I think for our group, that's really good.
Anyone with a final question for Kyle? Thank you, Kyle. This concludes the interview room for today.